Hey sis, welcome back to Rise in Power. This is our space where you can retreat, relate, and get rejuvenated. All right, so remember, pause the grind, plug into God, and pamper yourself, girl. All right, today I just kind of wanted to freely talk with you all. Really, let's be real. Before I took off my makeup and my hair, I just want to say, you know what? Let's not let this go to waste. Let me go and do my content today. No, but I love that my content really is just encompassed by the things that we women go through. That's just what Rise in Power is about. I just really want to remind us that the things that we feel, it's okay to feel. So today I was like, let's talk about feelings, because so many things have happened lately for myself personally, as well as for people around us, as well as the world. You know, there's so many things going on. And I think there's so many messages that God is trying to get us to pay attention to. And for one, let me pause and say, I'm on a high. Just, oh my goodness, I was able to attend the Desperate for Jesus conference, and I did it virtually this year. I was so sad that I waited to the last minute, like normal, and I did not do it in time to get the in-person ticket that I was able to get, but I was able to still do it virtually. I've made up in my mind. And let me just go back to that too. Sometimes when you are feeling something, it's very important that you pay attention to your instincts. God gave us intuition and instincts intentionally. I have been around people who have kind of made me second guess that. Really, I had to learn later on. They were intimidated by it, because really our intuition calls us into a greater accountability. And it also, of course, calls others around us into a greater accountability. And I just think that that's something to really, really think about and something to dwell on, because it is there beyond our, I think, brain power. Because our brains are there to protect us. There are things in our brains that are just scientifically put in there to keep us safe. And so when you are dealing with your intuition, it goes a little bit deeper. And I feel like God really, that's a God-given, just a gift. And I think it's very important, to pay attention to that and to dwell on that, because it really does call you into deeper, just period. It's not something that your body just tells you. It's not something that your mind just tells you. It is a deep feeling. And so talking about feelings, it's just very important to pay attention to these things. And so going back to the conference, I've just been a big life transition lately, relationally, as well as just locationally, all these different things. I was having to make some big decisions. And so in order for me to make the big decisions, I had to think, of course, beyond myself. So just segueing back to like the conference, I was going through a transition this summer. I'm a teacher. And so in the summertime, it's our time off. And for the first time this summer, I was able to really enjoy the summer. I was able, of course, to get started up things with Rise in Power again, as well as just connect with when I tell you people that God intentionally placed on my path, it's just crazy how when you put things out there and you talk about it or you write something down, it's a releasing, I guess that's the word I'm trying to say. And I'll tell you, God is just waiting for us to get that out so that he can meet us on the other side. It's like he always has a ram in the bush. He always, wherever there's a peak, there's always a valley. Where there's a valley, there's always a peak. He's always moving things. And so it was just really crazy how a lot of the things in this summer were moving for me. But in this one decision that I had to make, it was moving, but it was moving very uncomfortably. And so talking about feelings, I had to, I'll get into that in just a minute, but I had to understand it was a lot of things going on in that moment. So I had a lot of feelings and I had a lot of things going on in my intuition. You know what I mean? And so, or if you don't know what I mean, meaning like I was conflicted. I felt overwhelmed. I felt anxious. And whenever you feel anxious, it's very important to stop and pay attention to what that may be. Because I'm learning, people keep saying this quote, people are like, God is not the author of confusion. That used to get on my last nerve. It's like, I know he's not, but I'm still confused. You know what I mean? But it's really important to just sit in that thought. And excuse me, you may hear my kids in the background. I don't have no babysitter right now. We back in this COVID thing, so bear with me, y'all. This right here is my space. stuff is going on out there, but stay here with me for a second, okay? So, I had to really sit in that, and I think people have to sit in that statement. If God is not the author of confusion, if you are confused, I think just in that statement alone, you're not listening to God, or you're not sitting with God, or you're not letting him author your life. However you want to look at that. And so I was having these different feelings, and I was also having these different just whatever all this was. And I was feeling anxious. And so everything else, like I said, around me was just moving, and God was just developing these things. And because I know it was of God, because it was beyond me. And it was also impacting more than me for literally just this bigger, I felt like really the Great Commission. You know, it was beyond just the purpose he had for me personally. It's just things that you see working in God. Like women have prayed for certain things and this, and then we're all coming together in this intentional moment, and it's nobody but God getting glorified. That's of God. No mistake. And so this conference, it came across me from one of my coworkers and my friend, and I always go to their stuff. Like years ago, they were the first congregation that I really stepped out and visited outside of any of my congregations when I was living out of the city. And it has just been on my heart ever since then. It's something, because I just love the teaching, and I love that they are very relevant and they are very prominent, but they're very down to earth. And so I said, okay, let me. I knew in my mind I need to hold on to this conference moment. Everything else was going on, so I was starting to get in my feelings because this transition or this situation I was needing to make a decision about. I was like, okay, I need to work everything around that. But I still want to visit this conference. And I wasn't thinking in that time, I wasn't really thinking about doing the virtual. I knew in my head I want to go in person. Let me not tell a whole story here, but when I tell you everything else around that decision that I needed to make moved flawlessly, beyond even me. When I tell you beyond me physically, my energy, beyond the people that I thought that I could reach to help get things done, it just flourished on its own. So that was nobody but God. This decision, I'm sitting up here putting my, feet and my hands to the needle and the thread and all that stuff and getting stuff done. And more anxiety just kept arising around me. And so it's so interesting that in all that, I wasn't stopping to take time to feel and to listen to my intuition, my instincts. I've heard it this way. Men, they really do thrive off of instinct, and we women thrive off of intuition. So let me keep saying that. Forgive me for saying the other words interchangeably, but I'm talking about intuition. So intuition is just there for us for a reason, but I don't think that we give it enough credit, and I don't think that we honor it or even pay attention to it enough, okay? So it's very important, ladies, that we really honor our feelings. We are strong. We know that. We know we have feelings. We know that we have obligations. We have responsibilities. We know those things. But I really think that when it comes to us, we would negotiate ourselves more than anything. And yes, we have this new movement going on about, self-care. And I'm big about self-care. I always have been big about self-care since a little girl. Didn't really know what to call that. And it's really a lot of these things around boundaries. And I think we need to do a little series moving forward in the future about boundaries, because it's very important that we know where to place those boundaries and how to even matriculate through boundaries. And today what I mean is with the feelings and incorporate a little bit of boundaries, it's important that we place that with ourselves. We have got to put the boundaries up to where we can set space to care for ourselves. So self-care can be so many things. It really can. Self-care, I really believe holistically what it is, and just what it really is a space for you to sit with self and take care of self. That's what self-care is. Honoring where you are, knowing where you are, and then sitting in that where you are. So then you'll know what to do with that. You'll know whether you need to seek help. You'll know whether you need to self-soothe. You'll know whether you need to hit go, hit pause, hit stop, change complete directions. You'll know in those moments, but we have got to learn to take the time to sit and feel. Your feelings and your intuition is there for a reason. So please, ladies, honor that. If you are having some type of anxiety moments, if you're having moments of depression, yes, get involved with a community, but really sit with yourself. Don't keep getting going, doing. Take time to sit with yourself and see what that is. Give yourself hope. Give yourself grace just for that moment. You don't have to figure it all out then. You don't have to figure out, oh, well, I don't have hope for the future. I don't have, I don't know what this is going to look like. I haven't because even I'm a planner too. I like stuff to be planned, but I'm also a very free-spirited person. So I understand both sides of that. But it is very important, ladies, that you honor the moment. Honor the moment. Don't worry about too much of everything else that happened. Acknowledge what happened, but honor how it made you feel. Don't worry about what is to come, but worry about what is going on in your mind, your body, your heart right now. And yes, all of those things. Write it down. And let me give you one tip. I like to leave you all with something realistic. When you're writing something down, write it in this manner. Write it in the manner of, I feel this way. I feel anxious thoughts. Let's not get in the practice anymore of saying I am anxious. Oh, I have anxiety. I am struggling with anxious thoughts. Don't put yourself succumbed to something. Understand that we have struggles, and struggles are okay. They are normal. You know you're strong. You know you're this and that. Yes. And you can even write that just to remind yourself, but don't rush yourself out of that space just because you're trying to get back to that strong space. That's who you are. You are light. You are strong. You are a queen. You have a daughter of a king. Period. But you have feelings. So to go back to where I am now, I've just been on such a high of this. The conference. Oh my God, it gave me a space. I didn't know what it was going to be, you guys. I didn't know what it looked like. The next morning, I woke up later than what I thought, and I was like, okay, I'm just see through the first part. When I tell you, once again, nobody but God. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, working on 3 hours of sleep. And it was one of the most fulfilling, energizing experiences. And I knew it would be, but you don't know what you need unless you just allow yourself to sit with it, ladies. I'm really serious about that. Sitting with your feelings. And this conference just gave so much space for us to remember. And I love that's what it was, Stones of Remembrance. And just to remember, this is my personal takeaway. And it makes me emotional, remembering how good God is. If God didn't do anything else beyond what he's done for me so far, he is just so good. And yes, we desire and we want things, but he is just so good, period. God is good. He is so good. And it's so also, it just helped me to remember I can run to all these different things. I can run to all these different people, all these, just whatever, but it's not ever going to ever compare to when I run to God. And I hope you are feeling that too. Pay attention to that. We're going to run things. God gave us things in this world to help us along in the world, people to help us get through life. Absolutely. But we should take our covering, and we should be, I love it. It was desperate for Jesus. I have struggled with my faith. I still struggle with my faith in there, but it's something that is so indescribable. Knowing when you are in the presence of God, you don't start to crave because you're getting the nutrients and the fulfillment that you are created to have and to long for. It's crazy. It's that simple. Things are temporal. Things feel good, but they're temporal. And so it's just so crazy how, I don't crave the things that I used to, even physically, y'all. Clearly, I love to eat. I am an emotional eater. True and true. People say they're emotional eaters, but my emotional eaters will understand this. It's a beautiful day outside. Oh my gosh. I have got to get this kind of such and such to eat. I think about it the night before. Oh my goodness, I think such and such, or this thing is going to happen, or this little, it can be something just random in the blue of the sky. I think that made sense, y'all. But it's that serious, y'all. Any little thing, good, bad, sad, ugly, scary, excited, anxious, whatever, I'm going to find a reason to fulfill my craving of some type of food or experience, culinary experience. It can be as bougie as it comes. It can be as ratchet as it comes. The culinary experience in my relationship, it's I can't even describe it, y'all. So real foodies out there, y'all don't get what I'm saying. But even that kind of stuff, y'all, like I don't even crave that kind of stuff anymore right now. Friday nights is my crab night. If people who know Regina know, Friday nights is my crab night. I'm learning to share with my children. I'm learning. But I'm still gonna have my crabs, you know? And even at that, y'all, it's not the same. When people hear me say that, y'all should know. It's that serious. Like God is doing a working in me, and I'm speaking about this now, so even I can go back later and watch it to remember. Because we're gonna have our up and down moments. But I had to tell myself, it's absolutely encouraging and it's affirming, because this space that I'm in with God, you guys, going back to feelings, I am not happy with my situation right now. I'm not happy with my situation. I've moved towards single parenting randomly. Not randomly, but I've moved towards single parenting. But people tell me, and you know, I didn't understand it at first until I really started to pay attention to my relationship with God. When I tell you, it is a joy that I have, it is a peace that I have that literally surpasses my understanding. That's not just scripture. That is the life that I'm living. It is such a humbling yet honorable experience. I call it a beautiful storm. Who likes storms? Yeah, there's beauty in them. But who wants to sit through a storm this long too? No. So I am not happy with where I am. But I have joy. And we're going to talk about that later as well one time, because that's the difference. Happiness is a feeling. Joy is a fruit of the Spirit. And so I just really want to encourage you guys once again, honor your feelings. Write them down. Write them down in an affirmative manner of you will overcome these things. Don't let it already have overcome you. Know that you struggle through things, and that's okay. Honor your feelings, but I'm telling you, just like I learned at conference this year, be desperate for Jesus. Take it to Jesus. It may seem like it's a long time, and I'm trying to get to that place as well, ladies, but I'm a little farther along in my journey to talk about it, you know, now, but it's really real when it says, you don't know how long this will last. No, we don't. But I urge us, and I beg of us, I pray for us to stay connected to Jesus. Get you some friends, get you a community. We do Bible studies in Rise and Power once a week. We, of course, do planning and prep. Of course, we know that God orchestrates our plans, but it's still important that we are intentional in our planning, you know. But we do things to help one another realistically with how we're going throughout our week. It's very important how we go throughout our week, but especially planning time away to get time with God. That's the biggest self-care you can ever do. So have your feelings, but it's the most important thing you take from this, take it to God. Don't stop taking it to Him. And if you get weary sometimes, get you a community, you guys. We have this free community available for you guys. This may not be the community for you, but get you a community around you who will remind you of who you are. Go through your struggles, but remember who you are. You are light. You are a daughter of a king. You are strong. Strength and dignity are your name. You are a virtuous woman. That's who you are. We are each other, sisters. That's who we are. And it's very important that we start to see one another. That's why it's so important that we take time away to retreat, relate. That's where you find rejuvenation. We'll get rid of all this other stuff that we feel, jealousy and you know, envy and all the, you know, different things of just downs in life and the ups in life, all the different things. And we'll get to knowing back who we are, who our real identity is. And then be okay with our struggles. And we have a community that armies around us. So I just really wanted to encourage y'all with that today. It was a little bit blah, but really honor your feelings. It's okay. Honor them. Write them down. Talk with someone. Pray with someone about them. But run to Jesus. Be desperate for Jesus. Stay with him. He has not given up on you. He hasn't forgotten you, sis. I've been there. I struggle with that still sometimes. But remind yourself, patience will have its perfect work. It really will. That's one of the scariest prayers to pray. Being patient, but just know and be around a group of people who can remind you and show you your blessings that you have, even going when you are feeling down and forgotten. You're still blessed, sis. But it's okay. I want you to pay attention to where you are. It's okay to struggle. Don't struggle alone, for sure. But just get you a group of people who remind you where to take those struggles to. All right, you guys. So if you ever want to, join a community like this one, Rise in Power is free. We do events. We got coming up for the rest of the year and some events for the future, Lord's willing. But we're just a group of empowering sisters who are trying to see ourselves the way God sees us. And it's very important that you have earthly relationships like that remind you of your identity. No competitions, collaborating together. So remember, this is always your space. You can come retreat, relate, and rejuvenate here with us. All right, we pause the grind, we plug in the God, and we pampering ourselves. Okay, girls? All right, so I hope to see you guys next time. I just wanted to come and talk to you all. It was a little longer than I thought and what I wanted it to be, but I think this is very important that we keep this message going. So like and subscribe to this channel. Share with people. Share with other sisters. We're trying to get this thing up and going, not just for us, but for God's kingdom and the world. It's very important that we see one another, sisters. We have a great responsibility in our communities, and it's very important that we see that through the eyes of God. All right, ladies. I love you guys, and I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.